All right, welcome in to the Mizzou Hub Sports Postgame Show presented by Hot Shots. Chris Pelikan alongside Kareem Rush. Tigers lose a really, really, really tough one, 97-93 in overtime. Kareem, what's going on, my friend?
How you doing, man? Yeah, that was a tough one. It's really a kind of a tale of two halves. Being up by 9 after their first half, Caleb coming in, kind of setting the tone, and then just like the second half, Holger stepping up and just kind of a different second half for them. So kudos to them. They're a 20-win team. I knew it was going to be a tough matchup, of course, to go in, but I really thought we had that one at last second play where they knocked down that three from nickel. Let that guy hit that layup and go down and make your free throw. So we were texting about that. So he said, do you foul there? I know it's kind of up in the air what people might do, but I think you allow them to get the layup, go down there and knock your free throws and make them take another tough three on the way down. So, but again, tough loss. Kudos to Vandy to play great in the second half.
Yeah, I think we're gonna chew on that decision to not foul a little bit more coming up here. But again, this is the Mizzou Hub Postgame Show, sponsored by Hot Shots, St. Louis home for all the games, all the time since 1990. Find yours at hotshots.net, hotshotsnet.com. Also sponsored by Educated Spirits, new Rivals Bourbon Collection featuring the black and gold. There it is, my friend. Hey,
cheers. We're actually trying. Yeah, so a little secret. Cheers to you. A little taster for a new drink I'm trying to come up with. So I love, creamers and coffee,
Sure.
So I'm doing like a bourbon cream, maybe like a horchata flavor. So we're testing a few different testing things right now. But yeah, Educated Spirits, go out there and get your collector's item. Shout out to all the Mizzou fans who's purchased so far. I appreciate you guys. We're going to keep doing it.
Go to educatedspirits.io and get your order in. I believe, Kareem, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first 500 of those going out might have a special gift on them, huh?
Yeah. So we're doing a golden ticket. I got a very rabid sweet tooth, so Willy Wonka is one of my favorites. So in honor of Willy Wonka, we put in a golden ticket in one of the 500 collector sets of me and my brother. And if you win that golden ticket, you get a chance to either attend the MUKU rivalry game next year, Border War game, or you can host your own watch party of the Border War game with my brother and myself, along with some other Tigers and other Jayhawks. So creating unique experiences around the brand. We got some cool autograph prints. We got a lot of cool things there we're doing, that ties to, college nostalgia, fandom, the love and support of those alma maters and those universities, told through a lot of different products. So yeah, we're excited about what's to come.
Awesome. Educatedspirits.io. Check that out as soon as you can. So this show, folks, is for you. All right. Need to get you to hit that comment button some point in time. We'll get reading some of these real shortly here, as well as do us the solid of hitting subscribe on the YouTube channel. We'd love to have you on board as a subscriber. And Kareem, let's just jump right into some of the comments right off the bat. So Dave is reaching out, asking us and saying he'd rather lose tonight like this than in the tournament. But this was a wasted opportunity. He thinks we're destined for a 5 to 6 seed. I got to concur on the wasted opportunity thing. Your thoughts?
No, I mean, again, like I said, up to the last, 10 seconds, I thought we had the game in order. Like I said, the first half we were up by 9. The second half we just didn't play, well enough to win. But again, looking at Vandy and knowing they were probably, I think Lenardi had them in a 9 seed. I knew it was going to be a tough challenge for us. But yeah, I mean, we should have pulled this one out. It could be, looked as a learning lesson. You're trying to, swipe this one under the rug and kind of get ready for the final 2 games. But again, we didn't play horribly bad. We had trouble staying in front of those guys, especially Holger in the second half. He kind of created a lot of opportunities for them. But offensive rebound was another touch point that we need to touch on. Free throws again. We shot a lot of them, but was also missing. So a couple of things that I'm sure Dennis is going to tell the guys to touch up on. But all in all, let's close out these final 2 games of the season and then going in strong to the SEC tournament.
I think the big conversation point, and I'm sure that Dennis Gates is getting ready to answer questions about this as we speak, but the decision not to foul. You've played a lot of basketball under a lot of different coaches, high school all the way up through the pros. In your mind, or at least what you've seen in your career, Kareem, what is the philosophy, or what philosophy do you feel best about on the entire, we make 2 free throws, we're up by 3, they've got the ball, 8 seconds to go. Do you believe that the team with the lead should foul, put them on the free throw line, try to make them make their 2 points, but then you're obviously in a position to get the rebound and play the free throw game? Or do you let it play out like Coach Gates did tonight?
I mean, I think you just stay home and you defend the 3-point line. They can only tie the game with a three. So, like I said, if Holger drove and got that too, it's on us to go down there, get fouled, and take care of the ball, knock down our free throws, and just kind of eliminate more and more time off the clock. So when they're coming down three again, they don't have much time. So I've had a couple coaches do it different ways. Personally, I believe in kind of staying home and forcing either a tough three or allowing that too, and going down and doing our job and knocking down the free throws.
You're the expert, so I'll defer to you on this one. But I just, in my mind, just control what you can control in that instance, right?
True.
So I don't know. And again, hey, look, if he misses the three, then you and I are, we've been doing this for 10 minutes already, celebrating a win. So, again, I mean, obviously that's the way basketball is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You and I like to talk about the turning points in a game, and a lot of people will say that moment and that decision was the turning point. I'm gonna change it up a little bit and get your thoughts on it too.
Yep.
My thoughts are Mizzou's up by 9 points at the half, right? That's a good number. If you looked at how Vanderbilt shot the ball in the first half, I look at this and say this game should have been over at halftime.
Yeah.
Mizzou should have been up by 20 points at halftime, not 9. And the second half is a completely different game. But for whatever reason, this not so big team in Vanderbilt completely dominated Missouri on the glass. I mean, it was, I believe the final numbers were a plus 11 for Vanderbilt, but at halftime, I believe it was plus 15 with a massive offensive rebounding differential. When a team gives you the gift of shooting 9% from three in the first half, I mean, you got to put the foot on the throat, don't you?
I mean, we didn't play particularly well in the first half. I mean, if it wasn't for Caleb and Tamar coming in the first half, pretty much everyone struggled. So for us, it was offensively, it was really kind of a tale of two paths between two guys. Caleb and Tamar kind of led the first half. In the second half, it was more Robinson and Mark. Again, the second half was really kind of the tale of the tape. I think Holger played extremely well. Menon had a career game. We did a good job on Edwards, limiting his shots, but those offensive rebounds again was a problem. Staying in front of them was a problem. And again, like I said, just bad management. I think their last second shot was, something that should have been, a different outcome. But again, kudos to them for knocking down the shot. Nickel, had a great game the game before this, and then he struggled pretty much the whole entire half. And then second half, he knocked down 3 big threes for him too as well. So, those guys, made big shots.
He is Mizzou legend Kareem Rush. I'm Chris Pelikan. This is the Mizzou Hub Postgame Show presented by Hot Shots. Folks, obviously, this is your show, so we need to see your comments. We've got Alex chiming in here. Could Mizzou scare Auburn or Alabama in the SEC tourney and end up winning their way back into a top 5 seed? Kareem, I would tell you, I think right now they probably are a 5 seed even with that loss. I mean, nobody loves the thought of losing at Vanderbilt just from a historical standpoint, but look at what's happened in that arena this year. I mean, we've had Tennessee lose. We've had Kentucky lose. There's a lot of great teams that have lost at Vanderbilt this year for good reason. That is a very, very good team. But it's interesting. I think anything's possible in the SEC tournament, but it looks like their hopes of that double bye are getting a little bit more flimsy.
That's fine. I mean, I was for just only the one bye anyway. So, but you don't want to lose. Again, like I said, we got to finish strong these last 2 games and playing our best ball, playing our most confident ball. Going to the SEC tournament. Then, like I said, once you win the tournament, once it's up in March, it's a win, win or go home. So I think our depth is one of our keys. I think sometimes we struggle with having kind of that guy that can go get you a bucket besides, Mark, especially on the perimeter. Once Caleb starts kind of getting hot, they really kind of focus on him, and we have a tough time creating looks if it's not, coming from, and or Tamar. So I think it's a couple things we can clean up. But again, these last 2 games are important. We want to, finish strong and heading, go to the CT tournament on a good note.
Yep. Alex, we appreciate the comment. Folks, feel free to hit that comment button and let us know what your thoughts are on Mizzou's 97-93 loss in overtime to Vanderbilt. Also, while you're down there, do us the favor of hitting your subscribe button on this as well. So let's focus a little bit, Kareem, on some of the positive performances from this game. Again, you mentioned some of the names. I'd love to focus on Anthony Robinson, who is a guy who game in and game out, he's going to give you something. The defense that he plays, the energy he plays with, it's always there. Sometimes the points aren't there in bunches, but he's got that capability. But, this is a different game in the second half. This game might have, we wouldn't have been in overtime, I don't think, if Anthony Robinson doesn't do what he does in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, he was my player of the game. If we would have went ahead and won, I think he was the most impactful player. I mean, Mark had the buckets and the free throws in the second half, but Anthony did so much on the defensive end. and it came up with a couple key steals, some deflections, so he had an impact all across the board. And if, like I said, if we won this game, he was going to be my player of the game. Because Caleb did his damage in the first half. Second half, again, it's mostly Ann and Mark, kind of leading us. So but if we can keep him playing strong and playing, with his defensive mindset going into the tournament, we'll be good to go.
Yep. Tim chimes in. The defense needs to play better.
Absolutely.
Look, I would sit here and say, from my standpoint, the defense has been one of the real strong suits of this team throughout the course of the year. As they've gotten better, their defense has gotten better. They had a lot of really, really nice moments defensively tonight. But again, I look at this and I say, when any team shoots 9% from the field in the first, or from 3-point in the first half, struggling from the floor in general in the first half, the math just says they're going to get better in the second half. And you got to be ready for it, And I mean, how much of this do you think was Missouri's defense not being great versus Vanderbilt just getting back into what they are and what they do and sort of letting the math play itself out?
I mean, they were scrappy. Like I said, I've had a chance to really watch Vanderbilt this year, but just kind of seeing the tale of two halves. Holger, started, kind of showing who he was as a player. He didn't play particularly well in the first half, but the second half, he was getting downhill. We had a hard time. The way we switch, they can really kind of get us isolated, our bigs on their guards, and they're taking advantage of that. I think Manning came in with incredible energy throughout the whole entire game, making scrappy plays and kind of kept them into it. There's always some type of energy player, some type of crucial, key that they stepped up and had a 7-0 run and got back in the game. So they was already just kind of hanging around. Again, we didn't play particularly well. Dennis was switching up between, going man because we couldn't stay and then going to the zone. But they were finding ways to even get into the zone and, kill us on the board and get, points in the paint. So again, we can tighten up that stuff. You don't like to give up 90-some points to Vandy. But again, they were at home and they were scrappy.
Yep, no doubt about that. This is the Mizzou Hub Postgame Show. It's sponsored in part by Educated Spirits' new Rivals Bourbon Collection featuring the black and gold. Taste the tradition in every sip from Educated Spirits. It's a company created by our very own Kareem Rush and his brother,
yes.
Brandon. Now, the brand isn't just a product. It's a celebration of legacy, culture, and the connections we share over a great drink. Educated Spirits is here to elevate every sip, one story at a time. To pre-order, visit educatedspirits.io. Even if you're not a bourbon drinker, support one of our favorite Tigers and grab a bottle to display at home. That is educatedspirits.io for the new black and gold bourbon. Educated Spirits. Taste the tradition in every sip. And on that one, Kareem will.
Well, cheers that again. Always cheers. Yes. So I got a poll question for the audience here. So Caleb. So as I have my opinion, do you guys think Caleb will get an opportunity to play in the NBA?
It's an interesting thought. Folks, chime in the comment button. I'll give you my 2 cents on it. Boy, you know what? I think that for a guy who doesn't per se handle the ball as well as he does, in a great way at his size, I think it's going to be really tough for him to find minutes in the NBA. The shooting is next level.
Yeah.
Defensively, he can do some nice things. But man, you look at it at this point in time, you spent 9 seasons in the NBA. I look at it and I say, Caleb Grill's 6'4". He plays maybe a little bit bigger, but boy, I mean, when every guard in the NBA at this point in time is 6'8" and shoots pretty much as well, and I don't know. That's I hope he does, because I love seeing our guys go and do things the next level. What's your thoughts?
I think he get a shot. Just from watching him this year, I was hurt last year. Just from a defensive standpoint, that would be my only question. Can he stand in front of someone? But he's scrappy, he's tough. He's athletic. He gets on the break and does windmills and stuff. So he's shown that he's athletic. So I think it boils down to finding the right team. If they have a team that has some dominant guards, which most NBA teams do, and can get downhill and create opportunities for somebody like him, he can be a kind of a Kyle Korver type. Just he moves well, shoots well without moving. He's not just kind of a standstill guy. He can come off screens and move, and that alone opens the floor up for a lot of players. So I think he'll get his shot. It comes down to how well does he play in the summer league, and if he does decide to go overseas, what small things could he improve on in this game to showcase other aspects of it. But again, I think for him, if he can defend at a high level or decent level, he get a shot that's come because shooting is such a premium.
Yep. Absolutely. We joke all the time. We call him the microwave. He's our microwave. I don't know that he's, on Vinnie Johnson's caliber, but that's a that's an old reference right there. But, Tim jumps in and says G League maybe. I mean,
again, he can start there.
100%. Or he could go to Europe and make a decent amount of money and, have a good time doing that as well. So, this is the Educated Spirits Mizzou Hub Postgame Show right here on Sports Hub STL. Kareem Rush with you, along with Chris Pelikan. Tigers lose 97-93 in overtime. We mentioned some of the good players. And again, Anthony Robinson, great player tonight. Mark Mitchell, I mean, the game is out of control on Vandy's way. If Mark doesn't do what he does tonight, Grill does what he does, injected the energy in the first half, not as much later, but was there. On the negative side, and I don't want to dwell on this, but, when you get the performances like they got out of those three guys, you should probably win the ball game. I struggle, and I'm fighting this because I think Trent Pierce is such a nice player and offers so much. But I mean, it just seemed like it was tough moment for tough moment after tough moment with Trent tonight.
Role players generally don't play well on the road. They generally play better at home when you got that crowd, that comfortability that you normally have playing at home. So, that's what, having those top guys, that's where you need that go-to guy that, road to step up and get a bucket when you need it. So I didn't expect much from Trent tonight. Could have played better. But I think this game was decided by, not defending, not missing free throws in a couple key plays down the stretch that if it went the other way, this would have been a victory for us. So again, they knocked down shots, they made key plays, they had guys that played great. Holger played great. Manning had a career game. So a few guys stepped up for them to get the win.
Yep. Just on the stat line tonight, Caleb Grill leading Mizzou with 28 on the night. Mark Mitchell added 20. Tamar Bates was 16, and Anthony Robinson was 16. I mean, that guy, those four were about 90% of your scoring tonight. Which, again, on any given night, that's exactly what you need. But the Tigers turned the ball over 13 times tonight, which is not something that they've done on a real regular basis. Obviously the crowd was a bit of a factor for them. Vanderbilt's a scrappy team, like you mentioned. Magnon, just a guy who seems to be all over the floor all the time. Really so again, I mean, this is one of these games that you can't sit here and, after they lost to Texas, there was legitimate cause to be concerned about what this team was doing. Tonight, you look at it, and I think you sit there and you say, the best played pretty well tonight. There were some moments, where things could have been better. That rebounding differential has got to get better. And it's sad because, the horses are there to do this. Josh Gray should be one of the conference's best rebounders. I mean, again, with Trent Pierce, role player, but 6'11", he was getting pushed around by the much smaller, shorter, not smaller, McLaughlin, Carey. I mean, I know Jalen Carey's dad was an offensive tackle in the NFL for, 10 years. So he's got a little bit of, pushing him, but Jacob Cruz needs to be a guy who's getting rebounds. I mean, and even Mark Mitchell, who plays more like a guard at 6'9", he still is 6'9". We need to see. So again, I mean, not to harp on the negatives, but, what are the lessons that you're taking out of this one that you're hoping Dennis is talking to the group about tomorrow when they watch film?
I mean, I don't think he's going to harp too much on it. I think you cleaned up a couple of things. I'm sure he's going to address the free throws. I'm sure he's going to address the last play. Tell him to stay home. That's the last thing you want to do is stay home. But again, we played well enough to win. This came down to a couple of plays, a couple of stops here and there, and this game would have been in the bag. But he can take the cues. The first half was, was a decent first half. We defended well. The couple of guys came out and played, a solid half. But again, as a collective as a whole, we only really have 4 guys step up. So again, let's keep preaching. 2 games to go. Let's finish these last 2 2 strong and go on in playing strong and confident for the SEC tournament.
All right. Remember to chime in with your comments in the comment box, as well as hit the subscribe button and help us out there. So those of you who put any money on the game tonight, again, Kareem and I talked about this last week. Mizzou has been fantastic against the spread in conference play, something like 12-3 this year. So tonight they came into this one 2.5-point favorites. So they're going to drop to 12-4 in that regard. The over-under coming in at 157.5, which, when an overtime game happens, that's going to get blown out of the water more often than not. So we look ahead to what's next for this team. And, you got another tough road contest, right? Yeah. So on Wednesday, they go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma almost pulls off a win at Ole Miss today. So, Porter Moser doing a nice job there. What's the message to bounce back? I mean, these are 2 games that still, they've got at Oklahoma. Then a week from today, they're wrapping up the regular season at home against Kentucky. Still a lot to play for. at this point in time, what is the message?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you overthink it. I think the clear message is let's go out here and get a win and finish out these last 2 games strong. At this point in the season, you've seen each one of these teams once or twice before, so it is nothing new. You're not coming in surprised about what they do. The SEC has been a gauntlet all year long, so you're expecting a tough game on someone's home court. So go in there and play our game. You tighten up a couple things. I got to do some research on the Oklahoma squad to see who the key players are there. But again, our focus is what it's always been: defend, get turnovers, get to the line, and knock down some shots and play collectively on offense. But again, if we have that mindset, we got a strong chance of winning wherever we go.
Yeah, Tigers handled the Sooners pretty easily in Columbia a few weeks ago. So, I mean, obviously this is not something that they know they can't do. I mean, whether or not they can do it at Lloyd Noble Coliseum, I guess, is a different ball of wax altogether. I'm curious, from your experience, right, playing under Coach Quinn Snyder, former NBA Coach of the Year, God bless Quinn Snyder.
Yeah.
But at this point in the season, couple games left in the regular season, was there ever any talk about starting to get into the mode of playing tournament basketball? Or
No.
No, never.
It's just natural. The end of the year is coming. Tournament time is coming. So on your schedule, your body just kind of naturally starts to gearing up for. It's one game and we're out. It's just it's the fun part of the year. So around this time, you start getting amped up. Obviously you want to be playing well, like I've always said. You want to come off, win these last 2 games, and then, like I said, see how far we can make it in the tournament. And then, like I said, when March happens, that tournament happens, that's when the fun starts.
Yep. I've been told by our producer extraordinaire, Joe Roderick, that the poll question has actually been posted onto the YouTube page. So again, we would love to get your response on Caleb Grill's NBA prospectus, so to speak.
Yeah,
is he
G League? He can go to a 2-day contract and go right into the G League for a couple of years. Work on his game. But again, like I said, having that premium skill set of shooting in the way he shoots, it'd be attractive to some teams. It really just kind of comes down to if he can defend at a high enough level to, not be a liability out there.
Yeah, and you're a guy who obviously went to the NBA, played a long time in the NBA, but I know a lot of guys who are probably in Caleb Grill's shoes, right? They're fringe, NBA guys. What's kind of the mindset when you talk to those guys about, do I grind it out trying to play G League ball? Do I go over to France and get $1 million a year? So obviously these guys who are good enough to make money playing basketball, where is the balance for a guy like Grill? I mean, obviously he's going to get his opportunity one way or the other, but I mean, where do you think his mind is thinking about his future?
It comes down to, your own personality. If your dream is to make the NBA and you want to go through that grind, then by all means do it and chase it. But there's so many high level, so many competitive leagues around the world that someone like, Caleb will have a 10-year career, very easily. So he's going to play professionally somewhere in the world. He's going to play high level. But again, chasing an NBA dream is only, $450 per year. So it's extremely tough to get in there. But, if you have the determination and the drive to work on certain things, the one thing he does have is incredibly rare and an extreme premium. So he got a leg up, starting there with what his skill set is. And the game in the NBA is really all about, specialties. There are very few outliers that do everything, but for the most part, guys tend to do 1 or 2 things very well. And having that is just, basis of being a great shooter. It's a good starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that one covered. We know that for sure. And, this is a guy too, who's gone through, I mean, it just seems he's gone through a lot of turmoil, to be real honest with you, in his career. I mean, he's a guy who started at UNLV and transferred to Iowa State and, great things at Iowa State, and then ended up leaving there on not fantastic terms. And then he goes through an injury last year that couldn't have been more frustrating for a team that needed him. And then even this year, I mean, falling on his head, looking one of the worst, kind of visual injury things I've seen. I mean, there was questions about whether his neck was, this guy has gone through, crap. I mean, that's the best way to put it. And so, resiliency doesn't seem to be a problem with this guy. So if the NBA is his dream, boy, I'd be surprised if it's just, if if he's going to back off from that dream.
Yeah, I mean, and teams value that trait, the resilience, the coming back from setback, adversity. That's all part of the journey. And going to the NBA, it's going to be adversity. It's going to be grueling. It's not going to always work out the way you want to in that path. So if he wants it, then, go for it. But again, he's going to play high level, professional basketball somewhere in the world for sure.
Yep. The Mizzou Hub postgame show presented by Hot Shots, St. Louis's home for all the games, all the time since 1990. Find yours at hotshotsnet.com. We're also sponsored by Educated Spirits, New Rivals Bourbon Collection featuring the black and gold. There it is. Visit educatedspirits.io. Chris Pelikan and Kareem Rush with you. Folks, as always, we ask you to chime in with your comments on this 97-93 overtime loss to Vanderbilt today. And hit that subscribe button while you're at it as well. And Kareem, I don't know, closing thoughts. Let's tie this one up in a nice big bow. Hard to, because there was a lot of ups and downs in this one. But your thoughts as the Tigers leave Nashville?
Tough one. Should have went the other way, but we played well enough to win. Clean up a couple things and get ready for Oklahoma. I'm sure Dennis is not going to harp too much on it. Get to practice. Watch some film, clean up a few things, and keep it moving.
Yep. Well, this is the time of the year that everybody's checking bracketology. Everyone's getting ready for it. We are officially in March. Tigers have 1 week left of regular season basketball. They will conclude their season with a road game in Norman, Oklahoma on Wednesday. And then a week from today, they finish off at home against Kentucky in a game that could have some pretty strong implications for postseason play. And then the week after that, we start getting things going in the SEC tournament.
Time.
Yep. So how about one last time, Kareem, you and I?
One last cheers. There we go.
It is. EducatedSpirits.io, folks. Yep. And that's going to do it for
tradition in every sip.
I love it. I've already got mine on order, so a little bit more right here. So, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Mizzou Hub postgame show right here on Sports Hub STL. For Kareem Rush, my name is Chris Pelikan. We will see you on Wednesday after the Oklahoma game.
MIZ.